Stop walking into situations as if the world owes you patience. Every time you show hesitation, you lose ground you will never recover. People watch your body before they hear your voice. And once they rank you, the hierarchy hardens like wet cement. You move as though respect is something you can request. It isn't. You receive it only when your presence forces others to recalculate their behavior. If you don't control the signals you send, they will control the treatment you get. You've lived most of your life unaware that your body has been silently placing you below the men who understand its power. They don't overpower you with intelligence. They overpower you through instinct. They read you in seconds and categorize you without shame. You underestimate how quickly people judge your depth of confidence. They don't wait for your words. They evaluate the spine, the jaw, the breath, the eyes. They measure your certainty through the quiet geometry of your posture, and if they detect softness, they assume superiority. Stop letting them assume anything. Your first mistake is invisible to you. Your body adapts to the room instead of forcing the room to adapt to you. You soften your stance when confronted. You hide your uncertainty behind forced smiles. You move too much, too fast, too nervously. Even when your face stays neutral, your nervous system betrays you through your gestures. In the Machiavellian view, a man's presence is his first test. If you fail this test, nothing else you do matters. Your arguments lose weight. Your opinions lose traction. Your boundaries lose credibility. Once they sense weakness in the frame, they expect weakness everywhere. Your failure begins in your posture before it ever touches your words. So you need a new law, one that governs every second you stand in the world. A man who controls his body controls the perception of his power. You don't rise in status by shouting. You rise in status by eliminating every signal that invites disrespect. Authority is not loud. Authority is calibrated. Authority is the stillness that feels like a hidden blade beneath the silence. Your posture is a mask, and it must be carved with intention. Straighten your spine, not into stiffness, but into alignment. The spine tells others whether you expect to be challenged. A man who slouches teaches others to doubt him. A man who aligns teaches others to consider him. Set your shoulders slightly back, not inflated, not defensive, just set. Shoulders shape the atmosphere around a man. Dropped shoulders whisper submission. Aggressive shoulders scream insecurity. But shoulders that settle into controlled openness unsettle those around you. They feel the possibility of confrontation. Your jaw reveals your relationship with pressure. A slack jaw exposes uncertainty. A clenched jaw exposes desperation. You want the jaw of someone who could speak with authority or hold complete silence without discomfort. Your hands must stop betraying you. Hands are the first place anxiety leaks. When they fidget, people sense instability. When they hide, people sense fear. When they move too fast, people sense doubt. When hands operate from stillness, people sense control, and your eyes carry the heaviest weight. Eye behavior is primal. The one who breaks eye contact first is the one who apologizes with his soul. You must hold eye contact long enough to show stability, then break it slowly, never rapidly, never nervously. You are not chasing connection. You are measuring it. Everything about your posture must whisper that you are not seeking permission. Pause and consider this. People treat you according to how much inconvenience you tolerate. If your body telegraphs high tolerance for disrespect, you will receive it. If your body telegraphs that disrespect carries consequences, you will rarely face it. Respect flows toward the man who looks least willing to bend. Now understand the deeper mechanism behind this. Humans evolved under the rule of posture. Before complex language, dominance was identified through physical cues. The straight-backed hunter became the leader. The hunched man became the one who carried burdens. Those instincts remain untouched by civilization. Your posture is not a modern aesthetic. It is an ancient signal of where you stand in the hierarchy. This is why your presence collapses when challenged. When someone interrupts you, mocks you, pressures you, or tests you, your body reveals the truth you want to hide. Your shoulders collapse. Your chest tightens. Your eyes retreat. Your breath rises into your throat. These shifts scream vulnerability, and people escalate their dominance when they sense vulnerability. Stop rewarding that behavior. You must become intentionally unreadable, not empty, not blank, unreadable. When your face does not react, when your posture does not collapse, when your breathing does not accelerate, people lose the ability to map your internal state. They cannot predict your reactions. They cannot assess your limits. They cannot identify your fears. Unpredictable men force caution. Look at your pacing. Every rushed movement undermines you. Rushing is submission disguised as enthusiasm. It says, "Please accept me quickly so I can feel safe." A man who moves too fast makes others feel taller. Slow your timing. Slow the movement of your hands. Slow the turning of your head. Slow your speech. Slow your breath. A slower man is a heavier man. You must move like someone whose world operates beneath urgency. Now you need structure. You need discipline. You need behavior that rewires your presence permanently. 1. Enter every room with deliberate control. Your first 3 seconds define your rank. Step in with aligned posture. Pause subtly. Let the room feel you before you speak. That pause creates gravity. Gravity creates hierarchy. 2. Hold your frame under pressure. When someone challenges you, do not react immediately. Do not lean forward. Do not tighten your hands. Do not shift weight. Freeze your posture for 2 seconds. That stillness reframes the interaction. It forces them to wonder whether they miscalculated. 3. Reduce unnecessary movement by half. Your nerves crave motion. Deny them. Every time you want to touch your clothes, rub your hands, adjust your face, or move your feet, stop. Stillness amplifies presence. Movement weakens it. 4. Speak with controlled density. Not loud, not fast. Dense. Your voice should feel anchored, not floating. You speak as if your words already hold authority. You speak as if interruptions are beneath urgency. 5. Break eye contact slowly and intentionally. Rapid breaks signal retreat. Slow breaks signal dominance. Train your gaze to respond like someone who evaluates, not someone who flees. Now see how these laws operate in real situations. In a workplace meeting, everyone tries to prove competence by speaking quickly, aggressively, or loudly. You do not compete. You enter with composed posture, take your seat with slow precision, and allow silence to settle around you. You respond only when necessary, with short, structured lines. When someone challenges you, you turn your head slowly, hold steady eye contact, and wait. That wait is a confrontation in silence. It forces them to justify their disrespect. They crack their confidence before you speak a single word. Or imagine a social environment where someone is trying to dominate through humor or attention-seeking noise. You do not mirror their energy. You remain grounded, arms relaxed, breath slow, gaze steady. They make a comment directed at undermining you, expecting a reaction. You give them none. You offer a minimal response, delivered with calculated calm. Suddenly, their humor loses shape. The group feels the imbalance. The room shifts around your stillness. These moments define reputation. Now address the poisonous habit that breaks everything, smiling to dissolve tension. You think it makes you approachable. It makes you forgettable. It teaches others that you fear social discomfort. A man who fears discomfort invites betrayal. When you stop using smiles as shields, your presence becomes sharper. People treat you with more care. They do not want to trigger a reaction they cannot predict. Another mistake. Apologizing through your gestures. Bowing your head slightly when speaking. Shrinking your shoulders when giving an opinion. Using filler movements to soften your statements. These gestures destroy credibility. Remove them. You must stand like a man who expects his words to matter. Now go deeper. If you truly want authority, you must learn the law of spatial dominance. Men with power manage space without speaking. They decide where to stand. They decide where to position their body. They decide the distance between themselves and others. When you stand too close, you signal neediness. When you stand too far, you signal caution. When you choose your distance deliberately, you signal sovereignty. Position yourself where you can see most faces, where you can monitor all angles, where you do not need to adjust constantly. This position becomes a psychological command. I belong at the center. Even when you stand at the edge of the room, you stand like a structure, not a shadow. Now confront the internal truth. Your nervous system is not calibrated for influence. It's calibrated for survival. It reacts to pressure as if danger still surrounds you. The breath quickens, the shoulders rise, the voice shakes. But danger is not the threat now. Disrespect is. And your body must respond to disrespect with stillness, not fear. From today onward, embrace physical tension as the crucible of respect. When silence stretches, you stretch with it. When someone tests you, you do not retreat. When hard eyes meet yours, you do not break. Your body must become the boundary that others hesitate to cross. Now imagine this new version of yourself in motion. You step into a room. You take one slow breath. Your spine aligns. Your jaw settles. Your eyes assess quietly. You move with precise control. You speak without rush. You hold your ground under pressure. You pause before answering. You breathe as if nothing in the environment is strong enough to disturb you. Others feel the shift. They adjust. Their voices soften. Their postures change. Their eyes track you longer than they should. They sense that something cold and stable stands among them. You do not need to prove your value. Your body proves it for you. And here is the final picture. You exist like a man who expects respect, not because of ego, but because your presence demands it. You carry yourself with the silent confidence of someone who refuses to collapse. You move like someone whose boundaries are carved in iron. Your silence becomes weight. Your stillness becomes strategy. Your presence becomes law. If you belong to the small group of men willing to embody this level of control, leave your mark below and subscribe so you don't fall behind the lessons built for those who refuse to live forgettable. You think people care about your words, but they don't. They care about the signals beneath them, the posture that surrounds each sentence, the breath that exposes your pulse, the gaze that reveals whether you expect to be respected or tolerated. You keep trying to master communication while ignoring the thing that communicates first, your presence. Presence is not abstract. Presence is physical discipline. Presence is the refusal to collapse when pressure rises. Presence is the way you stand when someone challenges your authority. Presence is the cold steadiness that forces others to reconsider their tone. You've spent most of your life surrendering this advantage. You let other men dictate the rhythm of interaction. You let chaos determine your posture. You let nervous habits speak louder than your intentions. And now you wonder why people interrupt you, overlook you, disrespect you. But the reason is simple. You train them by moving too quickly, laughing too easily, reacting too visibly. You trained them by shrinking your space when tension appeared. You trained them by presenting yourself as someone who needs approval to feel steady. You must untrain them. You must retrain yourself. Start with the thing you fear most. Stillness under scrutiny. Most men break the moment eyes turn toward them. Their shoulders tighten, their face twitches, their breath shortens, their hands begin searching for something to hold. Stillness becomes unbearable, but stillness is where authority is forged. When you stand still under the weight of attention, you show you can handle pressure without losing form. You show you don't fear confrontation. You show you don't collapse for comfort. People instinctively elevate men who remain stable during discomfort. Stability is rare. Stability is expensive. Stability is powerful. If you don't control your stillness, someone else will control your reputation. Examine your breathing. Rapid breath betrays your hierarchy. Slow breath imposes it. When you inhale sharply during conflict, everyone around you senses fear. When your breath stays low and steady, they sense self-control. Breath is a quiet declaration of rank. Men who breathe slowly are not rushed by the world. Men who breathe slowly impose their pace onto others. Control your breath or you lose control of the room. Now look at how you stand while listening. Listening is where most men leak weakness. They tilt their head too much. They shift weight constantly. They nod excessively. They smile to mask discomfort. They expose insecurity because they don't know how to receive information without reacting to it. From now on, you receive information the way a strategist receives intelligence, with neutral posture, steady breath, and eyes that assess without revealing emotion. Let others speak into your silence. Let your silence unsettle them. A man who listens without reacting forces others to reveal more than they intend. Next, examine your reaction to conflict. Conflict is where hierarchy is decided. When someone raises their voice, you do not match it. When someone interrupts you, you do not fight for volume. When someone mocks you, you do not defend your pride. Defense is acknowledgement. You do not give them that satisfaction. Instead, you hold your posture. You lower your tone. You answer slowly. You let the space tighten around your calm. They expect escalation. You offer precision. They expect emotional response. You offer calculation. And suddenly, they're the ones who look unstable. Hold your calm like a knife they cannot see but can definitely feel. Now consider how you occupy space. Most men shrink as soon as someone more dominant enters. They step back, they step sideways, they cross their arms, they angle their body away. These are animal instincts, instincts of submission. Humans pretend to be above them, but they are not. Everyone feels what you communicate when you adjust your space. Stand your ground physically. You don't need to spread wide or fake confidence. You simply need to remain where you are. Remaining is power. Remaining communicates inner stability. Remaining forces others to negotiate with your presence. A man who doesn't move is a man they must move around. Study your gaze during tension. You break eye contact too soon. That single habit destroys your presence more than you realize. Quick breaks signal fear. Quick breaks hand the frame to the other person. Quick breaks say, you decide how this interaction goes. Slow down your gaze. If someone challenges you, meet their eyes just long enough to show you are unfazed. Then look away with intention, not retreat. Looking away too fast confesses weakness. Not looking away at all confesses insecurity. Controlled gaze confesses strength. You must master the gaze of a man who evaluates threats, not one who fears them. Now look at your speech. Your words reveal more than the content. They reveal your emotional stability. When you speak too fast, your voice becomes weightless. When you speak too loud, your voice becomes cheap. When you speak too softly, your voice becomes ignorable. You must speak with calibrated density, the voice of someone who is accustomed to being heard. Short sentences, firm pace, controlled pauses. Your voice should sound like it belongs to someone who expects attention, not someone who fights for it. Your tone is not decoration. Your tone is hierarchy. Now examine the habits that keep you stuck in low status. You smile too much, not because you're happy, but because you fear tension. You nod too often, not because you agree, but because you fear disapproval. You speak too quickly, not because you're confident, but because you fear losing the floor. These habits are confessions. From now on, you smile only when something truly amuses you. You nod only when something genuinely earns your agreement. You speak only at the pace that matches your composure. You stop signaling that you are easy to handle. If you want respect, stop proving you're predictable. Now imagine a real situation. You're in a high-stakes conversation with someone who tries to assert dominance. Before, you would have softened yourself to avoid their aggression, but now you stand aligned, breathing low, gaze steady. You let them fill the space with their flare of ego. They gesture wildly. They raise their voice. They interrupt. They try to provoke you. You do none of that. You stay grounded. You speak only when necessary. Each word lands with calm authority. Each pause feels intentional. Their aggression begins to look childish compared to your composure. The power shifts from volume to stillness. You didn't overpower them. You outlasted them. Stability defeats instability every time. Now consider a different scenario, a social gathering. Someone tries to embarrass you with a joke. Before, you would have laughed nervously or responded too quickly. Not now. Now, you hold a neutral expression. You let the moment breathe. You let others feel the silence. Then you respond with a slow, cold, minimal line that shows you aren't affected. Your lack of reaction reveals their neediness. People notice. The room subtly reorients around you. You become the reference point. They become the one who tried too hard. Dominance is not loud. Dominance is controlled. Look at how you sit. Most men collapse into their chair or sit on the edge like guests in their own life. When you sit, you place your back against the chair with controlled alignment. You keep one foot grounded firmly. You rest your hands calmly. Your posture signals that you choose to be there, not that you hope to be accepted there. A seated man with authority appears heavier than a standing man without it. Now examine the tension around your mouth. Your lips reveal more than any gesture. When you purse them, people sense judgment. When you stretch them into forced smiles, people sense insecurity. When you keep them relaxed and neutral, people sense control. Neutral lips are the mask of a man who cannot be rushed emotionally. Now think about the impact you make when entering a room. You rush. You look around too quickly. You adjust your clothing. You breathe sharply. These actions tell the room you are preparing to defend yourself. But you don't defend yourself by reacting. You defend yourself by owning your arrival. Before taking your first step into a room, align your posture, expand your breath, relax your shoulders, lift your chin slightly, not in arrogance but in clarity. Then step forward with deliberate pace. Enter as if you belong there, not as if you're proving you do. Your entry sets your rank. Now consider your exits. Most men rush out, lowering their gaze, speeding their movements, shrinking as they leave. But exits carry as much weight as entrances. When you leave, you rise slowly. You gather your things with precision. You walk away with unhurried control. People see that you end moments the same way you begin them, with sovereign pacing. Your departure is a signature. Now confront a deeper truth. For most of your life, you've used speed to protect yourself. Speed in gestures, speed in speech, speed in reactions, speed in compliance. Speed is your attempt to stay ahead of discomfort, but speed is what makes you weak. You must resist the urge to move quickly when feeling pressure. Move slowly. Let others reveal their intentions before you reveal yours. Move slowly. Let silence tighten around them, not around you. Move slowly. Make them adapt to you, not you to them. Slowness signals certainty. Certainty inspires respect. Now imagine commanding a negotiation. You sit with a posture that communicates internal weight. You breathe slowly. You observe. You speak in a measured tone. You do not chase the frame. They chase yours. When someone tries to dominate through speed, you answer through calm. When someone tries to intimidate with aggression, you answer through stillness. They realize quickly that nothing moves you off center. And once they realize that, you win. Now visualize how this new version of yourself responds when someone tries to disrespect you publicly. They make a comment meant to belittle you. The crowd waits for your reaction. Before, you would have tried to save face. Now, you simply look at the person with controlled neutrality. You let the weight of your silence pressure them. When you speak slowly, without raising your voice, without defensive tone. You answer minimally, exposing their attempt as childish noise. Respect shifts instantly. People feel the difference between forced confidence and sovereign composure. Now understand the importance of unpredictability. When people cannot read you, they fear misstepping. When they fear misstepping, they give you space. They speak more carefully. They treat you with more consideration. Unreadability is not manipulation. Unreadability is protection. Your neutrality must become their uncertainty. Remove every habit that reveals your emotional state. Remove rushed movements. Remove loud reactions. Remove quick smiles. Remove nervous nods. Remove exaggerated gestures. Remove anything that tells them exactly what you feel. You are not a glass window. You are a closed door. Now see the grand image of what you're becoming. A man whose body is no longer shaped by the environment, but shapes the environment instead. A man whose stillness anchors the moment. A man whose breath remains slow even when others panic. A man whose gaze holds steady without aggression. A man whose posture states, without words, that anyone who approaches him must do so with intention. You become the figure people notice even when you say nothing. They feel your presence because presence is not volume. It is gravitational pull. Now picture your life with this new discipline. People no longer test you casually. They no longer interrupt you easily. They no longer talk over you. They no longer assume you will bend. They approach you with caution, with respect, with restraint. They sense the boundary in your posture before you need to speak it. Your body becomes the first and strongest law in every interaction. And here is your closing vision. Imagine yourself stepping into any situation, work, conflict, negotiation, chaos, and the atmosphere changes around you. Voices soften, movements slow. Eyes track your path. You move with deliberate composure. You breathe with grounded certainty. You look at the world through the eyes of a man who is not trying to be respected. He is expected to be. Your presence becomes silent authority. Your posture becomes strategic armor. Your stillness becomes a warning. Your confidence becomes a boundary. Your discipline becomes destiny. If you belong to the few who refuse to remain ordinary, leave your mark below and subscribe so you stay aligned with the lessons built for men who rise, while others fade into noise.